What's up, everyone? So today we're going to do a couple things to the car. Going to swap out the axles. Got some new ones, brand new from Summit, relatively cheap. They were like 75 bucks. I picked up 3 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and just replace both of them. One snapped and one is a used RX7 on the driver's side. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace that while I'm underneath there. We are also going to talk about Goon Squad and GS Performance or GS Drift Deals on Facebook. Kind of lead into how I got the car and about those two dudes, Heath and Cody, that are just awesome to deal with. So yeah, we'll get into that, but yeah, this is not sponsored because I did purchase this, but shout out to goonsquadperformance.com. You'll see in another part of my video, we're also going to be rebuilding and replacing the fuel carrier to handle the 450 fuel pump and to clear up this silly wiring that I have going on. Just by the previous owner, and I've just kind of patched it in to make it work on the few nights that it's ran out. But so yeah, so we've got this bad boy. So this can handle 2 fuel pumps if I need to, up to 2 550s, which I'm only going to use a single 450. But it'll get me direct connections. It'll also, I've never seen the inside of my fuel carrier, so I'm hoping that the level gauge is still in there, and this will actually has mounting places for it right here, and I can connect it and wire in a fuel gauge, which is going to be life changer for me. So yeah, that's what we're going to have to do, and hopefully you'll see my makeshift kind of video platform. As we all know, I'm still learning, still all new to me, so I'm just kind of shooting off the hip, kind of going over the things that I do to my car, kind of getting over the fear of being on camera. I care too much about how people think about me, and it, you know, so this is a way to get over that. But anyway, so hopefully you'll stick around. I'll be doing the fuel pump, the axles, the fuel carrier. I'm also going to, I might do a walk around on the car. We'll for sure get into how I got the car and all that fun stuff. I might do that next, or I might do that after I do the fuel pump. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm just shooting off the hip, so we'll just kind of go from there. So if you'll stick around, I appreciate it. And if you did give me a subscription or subscribe to the channel, I really do like it. It just kind of helps me to be able to keep going, and not financially by any means, but it's like I'm not putting out stupid content, right? Like yeah, so I appreciate each and every one of you, and hopefully you like what you see. All right, so kind of like I said, cut. All right, so like I said, I figured I'd give you a quick little rundown of why I'm wearing this Goon Squad shirt, windbreaker, and kind of why I'm bringing them up. So I bought a few items on GS Drift Deals Facebook page, and that entered me into a webinar. And after going through a few webinars, I managed to win one of them, and that happened to be Taylor Ray's old RX7. So if many of you probably already know, but Taylor Ray's a pretty famous YouTuber, builds really great cars, and he actually got this car just kind of like trading around and had it just to kind of mess around, and it may have been a content car, it may have been just a fun little car for him, but he messed with it, caught it on fire, changed motors, tested it, tuned it, tested it, and kind of tweaked on it, and then to where he's finally to the point where it didn't really serve a purpose for him, and so he got rid of it. I think he traded it for like a 240 or something. I don't really know. I'll have to go back and watch that video. But anyway, so that's how I got the car. So that's GS Drift Deals. It's Goon Squad Performance. They try to do one every week. I think that a lot of people have gotten cars from there. I think I was car number 60, 62, something like that. So yeah, I got the car, it was delivered to me, and then I've just steadily been doing just different things to it. Added lights, added seats, carpet, the dual rear calipers, the hydro e-brake, changed the wheels out, and I've kind of cleaned up a lot of the wiring and cleaned up some of the issues that were issues, basically. So I'll give you a little tour of it, and you can kind of see, it won't take too long because we're still in the garage. I'm not out in the sunlight. So it makes the inside not as easy to read on camera, especially on these GoPros. But yeah, we'll get into that. All right, so I'm sure as you've seen in the videos, we have an 89 RX7, Turbo 2, painted white with some sparkly glitter. Kind of just randomly all over it. It had some travel on it, kind of a makeshift livery. I took it off, got rid of the 3-peat sports and put on a pair of Sakura Pink 57 DRs. 17 by 9 up front and 18 by 9.5 in the rear. It's kind of the perfect setup for my car. On there is a set of imported Katanas. They're just 18 by 9s. I have 4 of them just as drift spares. They don't quite fill out the fender wells, but they're great for just burning rubber off. Yeah, so kind of like I said, it had 2 different mismatched seats in it. It had no carpet. It had a bunch of kind of Dynamat foil all over the ground. It did have most of the dash. I did find this centerpiece. It came out a convertible. This one's not a convertible, but it fills in the hole just as nice, and I plan to make those do the window and turn signals. Currently they are just on the other side of this console. But yeah, I've got a wireless OBD2, which goes into this little pad right here, so that gives me everything I need on the dash. Got an ARC model 8000 to kind of control everything. Tucked inside the glove box is all the relays and all that fun stuff. So it makes it real clean, real nice. And like I said, I painted the roll cage. I added the LRB door cards. I obviously replaced the seats with NRG seats. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've done to the inside. Just made it a fun place to be, right? You know, obviously it is a drag car, and I'm not driving this on the street that often, but I wanted to make it nice. Roll cage is matched Sakura Pink. I got rid of the rearview mirror. Actually, I didn't have a rearview mirror, so I added a rearview mirror camera, and it actually works great because the mirrors are trash. They look great, but if you actually look at them, they're no good. They're absolutely useless. So we don't use them. It does have a carbon fiber sunroof delete, so shout out to Level Ride Concepts, and of course there's another backpack. Support your local drifters from the Goon Squad. I take this bag with me. It carries all of my waters and just things like that because I have a drone backpack, and then I carry a toolbox. So yeah, and then so kind of moving to the back where we started yesterday, I did finally get it all cleaned up. So anybody that's actually seen this car in person or had to help me work on it knows this was just a rat's nest of wires back here. So I got everything cleaned up, zip tied the covers on it. It's got a main fuse, so if anything ever goes wrong, it pops this fuse and doesn't hurt the car or anything. Battery is relocated to the back. So here's what I did yesterday. So I was sold this car under the impression it had a Walbro 450, and if you go back and watch Taylor Ray's video, he actually puts a 300 in the fuel carrier, and then kind of where you see these holes, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. He had a surge tank with the 450 in it. So once it got out of his hands, I think this car was tuned on the 300, and so that's what I left in there. I didn't mess with that. I just replaced the carrier and redid all the wiring with real nice, clean connections. And then you see the chase bays, dual hydro kit that goes straight into the bulkhead. So basically, chase bays didn't particularly sell this model, the RX7. So this is the all-alone kit that comes for the E46. It does fit great, actually. Plenty of length in both. That one could be a little shorter, but that's kind of just my inexperience. I could have put it, you know, a little closer to the rail or underneath the roll cage, and it would have made that wire go down. But like I said, this is a race car. Glitter back Prisma seats. But yeah, I'm really impressed with the wiring. Yeah, it makes it look really good and finished. So yeah, and the only wiring you see is just simply low voltage, and it is the kind of the RTR style lights that I have on both sides. They run top of the car as well. Yeah. And so, as you probably saw underneath the car, this all has Part Shop Max stuff. So underneath the rear of the car, we got Part Shop Max tow arms, camber links, solid spherical subframe bushings, solid diff bushings. It's got braided lines, slotted and drilled rotors. It did have a drag wing on it, but after a couple of incidents with the tire wall, I ripped out one of them, so I took it off, and I'm actually kind of liking it. I'm going to look at more getting just like a regular Turbo 2 wing. But yeah, so like I said, the back is full of Part Shop Max stuff. You can see all the bronze stuff, kind of their signature color, including the Z32 secondary calipers for the hydro brake. So if you go back in the video, or actually it'll probably be after this, you'll see all the, when I'm changing out the axles, you'll notice all the bronze, kind of goldish looking bushings and stuff. That's all Part Shop Max stuff that's been replaced. Kind of what you need to play around with if you know what you're doing and want to play with the drifting. Play with suspension for drifting. So it does have Shine Auto over fenders, Shine Auto over skirts, which is a really nice kit. It, you know, like I said, it's a drift car, but it's pretty nice. It still lets me to have that kind of wide look in the front. I've got the front towed out, cambered in, and yeah. And so we got more of the Von Gittin lights kind of in here. I replaced all the stickers up front. The only thing that's the same is right here where it says Special Era Style. Other than that, kind of everything else is replaced with what I like, particularly use. So I do have the front bumper, but it drags all the time. So I did add a True Focus Fab front bash bar, and I painted it Sakura pink as well. You can see the oil intercooler as well as a peek of the AccuSump. We'll go ahead and pop this open and let y'all check it out. So it's got a pretty good glitter on it. And here it is. So this is what makes this car so sweet. This is, like I said, if you ever go back and watch Taylor Ray, he was pretty famous for winning all of his competitions in the Miata. And so in that Miata was this 5.7 aluminum LS1. this particular RX7 came with a 5.3 truck motor in it. He had problems with it, kept losing pressure, and you know, that's a big thing for Taylor. So he kind of messed with this, caught it on fire, tried to mess with it, just couldn't get it right, and then ended up getting a LS3 for his Miata comp car. So that's how this car got the competition LS1. So he had new rings, new bearings, he balanced the crank, it has a high pressure oil pump, it has, it has a brand new water pump, it's got 799 heads on it. It's just a beast. It's got 90-pound injectors, it's got a comp stage 2 cam in it, it lopes, it sounds great. It's got the comp valve trim kit, the 90mm throttle body, it's got billet aluminum fuel rails that run the E85. It's got stainless steel braided fuel lines, of course the Walbro 350. It's got the electric valve AccuSump with sensor, and I also have it a switch in the ARC 8000. So I don't always particularly have to run this, and I don't. Only when I go probably 3 or 4 laps and I start noticing the oil getting real thin, I'll go ahead and turn it on, and it just kind of balances the pressure out. And I can actually see it working, so I can tell that it works. I feel like I know how to use it. Yeah, so, and underneath here you can barely see it, but I got the Mishimoto catch can, and then it has the Volvo electric power steering pump, which is freaking awesome. This thing is, if I had more experience, it would be so snappy. It's not like a new Mustang electric, it's an electric hydraulic power steering pump, but it just makes a world of difference. I can go full lock, left to right, standing still on pavement. It'll just allow me to do it as long as the motor's running. Yeah. So obviously BC coilovers, they aren't tuned to an LS swapped RX7. They are just the basic RX7 BCs that Taylor just went in and grabbed one day as he was visiting. Got the Mishimoto radiator, obviously. It's got long tube headers. It's got a 15-row oil cooler kit, which is what we talked about earlier. In the Miata, this car was on a dry sump, so I know it was taken care of. The internals were always oiled. I know it was great. And I know Taylor takes great care of his car. He even, it's got the oil filter relocation kit. It's got an upgraded alternator to handle everything. Willwood reservoirs. It's got gold wrap. Got some makeshift foil wrap. Now, I didn't do that, but I want to clean this up with some more gold tape at some point and do that. It did have a few things in here, so I need to change the filter out. This is a different hood, and so I can't decide if I want to do, I think I just want to do one of those like cheap scoops, kind of somewhere right here, and let the air come into the filter. Or I've even thought about just cutting like a nice little circle right here in the hood, and then angling this up a little bit and having this just peeking out of the hood to kind of make it look a little more menacing. But I just don't know yet. It runs great right now. Intake temperature doesn't really get over 120. It kind of cruises between 80 and like 105, but it's also been cold outside. So, but yeah, that is the majority of this car. So obviously it's tubbed. It still has a functioning windshield wiper motor. It has headlights. They no longer pop up on their own, but they work down or they work up. It does have hood. So yeah. Let's see. So just underneath here, we're underneath the front passenger side. It does have Villain's lower control arms. It has welded and cut knuckles on it. So we've got all right, and so it's got some pretty good lock on it. So I mean, it's got pretty good angle. Watch that, you know. I don't have the front fender on, but I mean, it's pretty good. I've not gotten to the point where I've needed any more angle, that's for sure. So you can see the big beefy Turbo 2 front brakes. Like I said, BC coilover, shout out. Absolutely love these things. I've been able to play with I've made the front pretty stiff, just because it is kind of heavy with the LS in it. And then I've made the rear a little softer. So like I said, they get 32 clicks max, and I'm at 31 on the front, and I'm at 28 in the rear. And I can feel it squatting, and so I feel like that gives me a little bit of traction when I need it. That is not me rubbing. That was from when the 12.5 3-piece were on here. He was rubbing hardcore. I don't have any rubs on my brand new Sakura. That's just mud. So anyway, Villain's lower control arm kit, cut and welded knuckles. I've got enough angle to handle what I need to do, especially for my skill set. But yeah, I mean, that's a really quick rundown of the car. But kind of like I said, I got it from Goon Squad, GS Drift Deals on Facebook. It does have a lot of Z's in it, GS Drift Deals. Goon Squad Performance, you can get any car part you need pretty much from them. They have great prices as well, so it is actually a full-blown website. Wisefab, Gretty, you know, everybody that we use, Chase Bays, Brembo, yeah, just lots of everything. All right, so yeah, I mean, that was basically a really quick rundown of the car. Kind of why I'm wearing this awesome windbreaker that says Goon Squad on it, and why I am so heavily involved into the drift scene. I mean, I was into it. I had my little G35, but after winning this car, obviously I've got a full-blown drift car now. So it really sparked it. You know, I was able to see what it does. I'm able to play with it, add on to it, learn about the issues with playing with these 30 to 20-year-old cars that all of us are doing right now. And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed it so far. I hope the car is coming out good. I mean, personally, this is one thing that I do care about a lot. Like, I really like the way the inside looks. I've taken a lot of time and effort to make it like match and make it a fun place to be inside. And so once I actually get good at driving, people can ride along, and it'll be kind of like something that be like, oh man, I want to take a selfie in here, or, you know, just a fun place to be inside instead of just a strictly race car, right? Like, that's just my thought. I appreciate and understand why race cars are like they are, and there is a beauty to that. But I kind of wanted to have this crazy wild inside. I am going to get homeboy up in San Antonio, Josh, to do a new probably lace top and hood, and as well as a matching helmet. And then kind of maybe get into, we'll see how long these axles last, and then if those ever break again, then we'll start looking into doing a Ford or a winter's quick change in here. But like I said, I'm really thinking about getting a Cresta to take on Drift Week, so that'll give me another drift car. And then I've had my eye on an S14 with a 2J in it. It needs to be done, but it's a little out of my price range. Until I get to 1,000 subscribers, we're not even thinking about doing stuff for content. So we're just gonna look at the Cresta and having this one ready for like Lone Star events starting in March. All the events start back up around here, so we'll have Urban Drift, which is the parking lot drifting, and I'll be just literally straight off of Drift Week. So I should have some really good confidence and skill set kind of to make a really good show out there. Maybe give like my first paid ride-alongs. You know, just have fun. Everybody wanted to ride with me, but I'm too embarrassed because I either spin out or like I did at Cam's, I broke an axle and homeboy just got to ride around in a one tire fryer. So yeah, I'll quit rambling on and let y'all get back to the axle or the fuel pump. I don't know which one I'm gonna slot it in, whatever feels best, but you'll hear me say it a lot, but thank you again. I really appreciate it. And all right, so we are in the back of the FC No Rotor RX7. Check out those Prisma seats. Yep. Yes. Yep. Anyway, while we are here, I already took this off clearly just to make sure I was getting the right parts at Summit. This is the main culprit right here. The whole reason I'm doing this. When I got the car, the 450 was in here. The Walbro 450 was in the original carrier, and then kind of hardwired into the factory connection. Well, doing some research, this connection is only able to handle 16 to 18 amps, and the 450 is probably doing around 20 or 22 just from my research. And so I kept having issues with this connection melting. I would short out, it would pop this fuse right back here. It would constantly send, all these wires would be hot. So this entire wiring from all the way from the front, excuse me, from here to the front would start smoking after 3 or 4 laps. I say that, it was getting real hot. There was a lot of tire smoke also, so can't really confirm that. But it would work every time. I'd let it cool down and it'd be fine. So I assumed it was this, and at this JD Invitational on New Year's, my car just cut out on me. Just fixed the axle, welded the axle up, got it out on the track, and it cut out on me. And so I was able to do this in the middle of the night with some flashlights and a bunch of friends holding their phones. We were able to play again the next day to try, we were able to try the axle and realize it was broken, or the diff. So this does work, but it's clearly not cool at all. So well, the carrier that I got is going to clear all of this up. Hopefully. You know how it goes. Years old, but we got it out. You'll be able to see kind of what we're gonna switch out here. I'm gonna let this drip dry a little bit so we don't catch the world on fire. But anyway, that's it for now. All right, so we have the Turbo 2 fuel carrier with a Walbro 300. And it was already converted to stainless steel lines, but this was the main issue right here. I am not sure if the fuel level actually works anymore. I think it might just need a bobber. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get it out and get it mounted in here. But if not, I'll just leave it out. It's not like I'll be missing it or anything like that. But basically, this is the JDL Engineering fuel carrier. It can handle 2 550 Walbro pumps. Pump 2, pump 1, ground, level, and temp. And this is where you'll mount the factory fuel level right here. So we're gonna give that a go. It comes set up kind of like this. What I'm gonna end up doing is pulling off this front one, and I'm just going to plug it. That way we've just got one feed line going into it. This gives us, I mean, tons of room to, if I ever want to get it any bigger or get it more powerful, or you know, whatever we need to do. This gives me plenty of room to do that. So shout out to him for making this. He made it and got it out kind of over the holidays. I think it was Thanksgiving, and then I'm just now getting around to doing it. But as you can see, everything has been CNC'd, even except the O-rings in there, which is really cool. It allows me to use an AN8, which is actually a -8, but, well, I don't know, it's an AN8. Yeah, it's an AN8. And then it goes to an AN6, which is what my stainless lines are. So it's identical up top, a little bit more options up here. It comes with 2 E85 or 93 ready fuel lines. I think I'm going to go ahead and just reuse what I have and just set it up from there. So yeah, once again, I got these from Summit. They're AN8 to AN6, which is what we have right here. So, and like I said, they accept the O-ring, which is awesome. Really thought out, you know. It's just, it's what it is. It's thought out.
as you can probably tell, that was hard. Just getting it all in there and I had to take it back out and turn the fuel pump around about 90 degrees. Well, I'd say probably 40, whatever. I had to turn it a little bit, about a quarter of a clock. And yeah, so it was just a pain, really. But anyway, got it in there. Looks pretty good. Got everything going. Next, I'm just going to clean up the wiring that I have back here a little bit, and then we're going to fire it up and see if it works. Hi. So yeah, 89 RX7 Turbo 2. Let me see. We have to disconnect this so that I can push the wheel out, which is right over here. Yeah, you can probably see it. Yeah, we'll have to take out these 4 bolts right here on each side. And then with this particular one, it's gonna be easy for me because it's snapped. So I'm gonna be able to, I have a lot less room. I have a lot less axle to get stuck in there. So I'm definitely gonna replace this one relatively easy. The other side, I don't know. Just simply because I don't know how far out I can push these. I might have to take off the coilover, but I just don't know. So anyway. Oh yeah. Yeah, not supposed to look like that or come out near that easy. Yeah, that's it right there. you just simply get that out of the way. So I'm gonna pause it right here. So all I'm doing is just taking this out of the way. You actually don't lose any of your measurements, you know, or however you have it set, although I have no idea personally. But if anybody else is watching this, you won't lose what you have. All I'm doing is just releasing that, and it'll allow me to push this in and out, and that helped me get the axle in. So I'm thinking it's gonna work on the other side. This side, like I said, is gonna be quite easier. But anyway, back to it. So broke it in the James Dean sweatshirt, so I'm gonna fix it in the James Dean sweatshirt. When he starts shipping again, I'll go ahead and get me another one. But anyway, so if you're in this particular situation and you need something to get your axle out, you can use the other end of your axle. Let's see. Yeah, it snapped in the same spot, but you can see it was completely twisted. Like there, we're talking like it was torn to shreds. It shouldn't even have lasted however long it did. But anyway, so you can see a little piece of it right there. Go ahead and grab that nasty thing out. Oh yeah. This was all bound up in here. You can see this is actually so, it's just, I think it damaged a bunch of the bearings, the ball bearings that are in here that help everything kind of move and pivot around. I think it damaged that when it twisted and broke, and it had a crack all the way down in here. So yeah. All right, so we have a 32-year-old, we'll say 30-year-old axle that did its job quite well, I must say. My inexperience in doing just standstill, absolute full throttle, dump the clutch launches is what did this. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. So, bam. Went to Summit Racing, picked this up for 70 bucks. So it is brand new, non-ABS ring, which doesn't matter here. I didn't have one either, so nothing to worry about. Yeah, that's it, brand new. If I would have known this, I would have hauled butt back to Dallas, to Fort Worth. Actually, it's in Arlington, but to the DFW area. And I would have picked this up and went out there and had fun. But that's what you learn. You live and you learn. All right, so I didn't even have to use my Yeezys. I was originally gonna try to make a catchy, you know, title that says I changed my axle in Yeezys, but I didn't have to. So like, it kind of shows how easy it was for me to, for us, I won't say me, for definitely for all of us, because I had a lot of help, to change this out on trackside. I mean, so that's really encouraging for anybody drifting with the FC chassis. Now, I will say, I'm sure that, you know, there could be a time that the axles go out, but you could be, you know, working your way up to, you know, a Ford 8.8 or even a quick change with some modified hub adapters for even these or like 350Zs or something. I don't know. But you get away with this for a little bit. And it was like my biggest fear was breaking an axle, because you'd have to find one, and then you never knew how many miles it was going to have on it or whatever. And yeah, so I'll let you get back to it. All right, so now we just need to put this back on. Yo, what up? So, hello again. So we're on the driver's side. This one, there is nothing wrong with it. The boot's been leaking for a little bit. It was replaced as soon as I won it. As it was getting loaded on the trailer, this axle had snapped because it had been previously welded. So this is a used Turbo 2 axle from a dude in Florida. Shout out to him for getting it to GS Drift Deals so fast so they could get it back to me so quickly. But anyway, since I have plenty of axles, I'm going to go ahead and just swap this out too. It's really not that bad. And I'm going to go ahead and just keep it just in case I have an emergency for an emergency. So yeah. Okay, so as you can tell, I struggled a little bit. I think this this shock is actually in the way just a little bit more than the passenger side, which is kind of strange. I feel like something's not quite right. I might keep working with it and cut it out, like cut it out of the video. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep messing with that. All right, so, oh, whoops, hello. So, camera died. So I went and got a new battery. Let's try to put you back kind of where we were. So anyway, I had to take this off. Had to take off BC, shout out BC coilovers. Really good stuff. But I had to take that out and just set it to the side so that I could do that. That's all I wanted to do. Now this one is good. But like I said, it is used, the boot's blown out. So I'm just gonna kind of treat it the same way as I did the other one. So we got two of them working. Yeah. I went ahead and just replaced both of them. Obviously we've got to put this back in. But yeah, you saw me struggling with this one. This is driver's side over here. That kind of helps you orientate. That's driver's side. So it was harder. I had to remove the coilover and this guy just to get the axle out. So that'd make it a little harder on track. I had to put my jack underneath the tire, and I just kind of kept the stand just in case something wasn't gonna go right. For some reason, I was able to do this. I was able to do the passenger side with only removing this. I don't know why the coilover sits just a hair back. I don't know. But anyway, track side, passenger side is better, but now that I know that, I probably could have done this in a little bit quicker. I guess that concludes the axle part. We'll get it up and start it, and I got to kind of rinse it off and do some more things, and probably in another video. All right, well, I mended something. I fixed something for once in my life. So it's obviously, it's gotten really late. But yeah, I've got to put sleeves all over this, but I think it's cleaned it up. If you've seen it before, it's cleaned it up so much. Yeah, I'm gonna put all this into this conduit. So yeah,
little bit about what took me so long today is I did take a break and I went to go test drive a Cresta. I had this crazy idea that I'd like to pick up maybe one of those for Drift Week. Nice, comfortable car. It's a little more expensive than I wanted to spend on a Drift Week car, which is just a seat time car, because I'm still gonna drive and drift this at events. But it's just not feasible to drive 2,500 miles. So, like I said, I am going to Drift Week 7. I am making sure this car is like an extra super long, extra worst case scenario backup. But I'm thinking about getting a right-hand drive Cresta. And yeah, it's got a JZX90 swap basically, so everything you can find in a 90, it was just swapped over. The twin turbos went out, so it has a single turbo in it. And yeah, I just think so it's either that or Aaron Losey's G37, which is driven by the Drift Game guys. It's just we're coming down on the wire. We got about 5 weeks until I'm gone. But yeah, I appreciate you hanging out this long, and hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.